Maybe even at a major crypto conference in Ghana where our Mackenzie Sigalos is reporting. Mackenzie, is that what people are talking about, what's going to happen to Sam? Or are they just busy trying to distance the rest of the industry from him like they did from stablecoins and other toxic topics?
Yeah, it's definitely the latter, John. And frankly, there's more relief that a black swan event has removed what some now consider to be a damaging aspect of the industry. That being said, crypto Twitter has wondered why the ex-CEO of FTX hasn't yet been charged with any sort of crime when he's a U.S. citizen who allegedly defrauded other U.S. citizens. So I spoke with trial lawyers and former federal prosecutors to try to answer that. And they say SBF faces three distinct threats. You've got criminal, civil, and private. Now, criminally, experts say that a fraud charge, bank, wire, or mail is the most likely. Given the size of FTX's losses, that sentence could be life in prison with no chance of supervised release. Now, that scenario, apparently unlikely, but it is the theoretical worst. Of course, law enforcement has to arrest him first. The Bahamas has an extradition treaty with the U.S., but we'll see if they cooperate with U.S. action, which could take years. In the meantime, SBF is running a PR blitz, appearing at DealBook and on ABC News, claiming that he was unaware of how bad it was, saying that he was not a crook, just bad at business. That is hard for many people to swallow. SBF was intricately involved across all of his businesses. Now, on the civil side, if regulators from the SEC or the CFTC decide to act, they could impose massive fines. And then there are the millions of creditors who could sue Bankman-Fried for damages. So a lot of moving parts here, John.
Mackenzie, if I can, who do you think Sam Bankman-Fried is trying to persuade with this media tour? Because most of the crypto people I know are furious with him. Most of the public doesn't believe that he doesn't think or didn't do anything wrong. Who is his real audience here that he might be trying to persuade?
I mean, it almost seems like he's trying to win in the court of public opinion. But as you said, Kelly, he's already lost that battle. So then it goes to, is this some sort of attempt at a legal strategy? And literally every single attorney that I've spoken to, people who've tried these kinds of cases in the past, say it is the worst possible idea. Because, yes, he's not speaking under oath, but he is certainly exposing himself. Like, you had those comments from his interview with the Financial Times over the weekend in which he did admit to greater involvement in decision-making at Alameda Research, which was hypothetically the big goal of this press tour, to distance himself from that decision-making process. So it is very unclear what the strategy is here.
Maybe it's a stay-out-of-jail strategy. I mean, if he keeps showing up in articles and on TV, it doesn't seem like he's running or disappearing. Anything to say about? Do the experts have anything to say about that?
I mean, I think that a lot of people are confused about why it's taking so long. But if you talk to anyone in the legal field, they say that this is par for the course. They say that it takes time to build up the kind of case that prosecutors would look to charge. So these fraud cases are incredibly complicated because you're trying to prove intent, that somebody intended to do something wrong and they didn't just make a bad decision, and that's not an easy case to make. So on the legal side, people aren't too concerned with how long it's taking. And so even though he's going on this extended media tour and sitting easy in the Bahamas, I don't think there's any question as to whether he will ultimately face some sort of legal repercussions.
And is that the only thing people are talking about at this? I mean, let's remind the audience, you are in Ghana right now, Mackenzie, for this major Bitcoin conference. What is the mood there?
I mean, people are so optimistic about the power of Bitcoin technology. There are 600 people here from 42 different countries, and they're all talking about the use cases for Bitcoin beyond being a speculative asset to trade. Now, you've got Jack Dorsey speaking tomorrow. His company, Block, has been instrumental in trying to foment wider Bitcoin adoption. I spoke with Thomas Templeton earlier, and he's the person at Block who's spearheading the company's efforts to democratize Bitcoin mining by creating new hardware that's more affordable and efficient so that people like you and me, Kelly, if we wanted to try it out, we could do that too. We also heard from Ray Youssef. Now, he runs a decentralized exchange called Paxful that's very popular in Africa, and that's the story of peer-to-peer crypto adoption here in Africa. So people are very excited. They're brainstorming. They're talking about what kind of potential exists for new applications.
Mackenzie, thank you. And John, they're also, others in the industry, trying to distance themselves from Sam Bankman-Fried, saying there's something real here that's not associated with him.